This is the She Dares to Travel podcast, and I am your host, Raquella Pollock. After spending a decade managing the #1 travel agency in Canada and now working with tourism businesses in risk management, I am here to connect you with women who are taking the travel industry by storm, as well as business professionals with a passion for travel, just like me. We are here to inspire, motivate, and uplift you to not only follow, but plan out your dreams, no matter where in the world they may be. Be sure to leave a review, subscribe, and follow along. Thank you to Hotel Z Kelowna, Victoria, and Tofino for being our sponsor. You can also save 15% off your next getaway using the code DARES2, DARES 2, the number 2, at hotelz.com. These funky and unique hotels are in British Columbia, and they're going to have you not wanting to leave while you're on your next vacation. Enjoy. Hello, Daredevils. Here we go again, another trip around the sun. And this week, we have an inspirational story. Speaking with a woman that I met actually here in Kelowna not too long ago. We connected over Instagram, and the rest is just history, so to say. Leesa Beeson joins us today. She is the owner and she's the founder of Wanderlust Stuff, where she connects travel lovers with unique products from all over the world. And Wanderlust Stuff is an online destination. It's meant for purposeful and undiscovered travel essentials and accessories, where they're aspiring to just help you see the world. Leesa has over 25 years in marketing management experience, as well as 14 years as a flight attendant with Westjet. She has been busy, to say the least, really, let's say here. And she's worked in all aspects of marketing, publicity, and production for several brand projects. And she's also worked in the Cayman Islands as a marketing manager for a commercial development and entertainment facility. Her work as a flight attendant, as well as her personal travels, have really taken her all over the globe. And I can't wait to dive in just into where travels have taken Leesa as of late. Thank you for joining us today, Leesa.
Thank you so much for having me. You explained me better than I can explain me.
I try,
Awesome.
right?
Thank you.
You are so welcome. You're so welcome.
Yeah.
I love
Thanks.
doing the
I'm so
intros.
excited to be here.
I do love doing the intros with people hearing, because I want you to hear how amazing you are, is how that is. So good.
That was awesome.
Now, I see in the background that is not, it doesn't look like a Zoom background. It looks stunning. Where are you right now?
Yeah. I am in Mexico, down here for 5 weeks, maybe more. We bought a one-way ticket, not sure when we're coming home, but it'll be sometime in February. But we're in a little fishing village called the Cruz. It's about an hour north of Bucerias. Stayed here, an hour north of Puerto Vallarta. Stayed here last year for a short time and really quite liked it. So we came back again, and we're here doing a little bit of vacation, a little bit of working, a bit of both.
Love it. And that's the joys of having an e-commerce job, hey? That you can go and work wherever you need to in the world.
That is one of the reasons why I decided I wanted to get into the digital space versus the bricks and mortar space with my business, was so that I did have the ability to travel while I worked. Yeah.
I love it. So in La Cruz, what's it like there? What is there to do? Besides stare at the beautiful
There's so
view?
much. I know. You can probably see the marina down there. There's just hundreds and hundreds of boats. It's one of the biggest marinas in Mexico. There's a really wonderful, it's a fishing village, really. So there's a wonderful fish market down there every day that you can go to. You get fresh everything: tuna, mahi, shrimp, lobsters. So it's incredible. We go down there for a walk quite often. They also have one of the biggest outdoor markets in Mexico, here in La Cruz. I think it's actually the biggest outside of Mexico City. There's just hundreds and hundreds of vendors. It's every Sunday. It attracts thousands of people. We go down there every Sunday. We do some shopping, buy some local foods, local cuisines, local herbs, stuff like that. Listen to music. So it's super. We're also about 10 minutes by car to Bucerias, which is great for it's like this massive stretch of beach. You can walk for days and days, watch the sunset, or we'll go further north to Punta Mita, Sayulita, La Pinita, San Pancho. So there's a lot to do. It sort of reminds me of the Okanagan in that sense, where it's like there's a new town every 10 minutes or so: Vernon, Kelowna, then Peachland, then Summerland, then Penticton. Very similar to that. Yeah.
Gorgeous. Yeah. And you guys obviously have a car while you're there to get around.
We actually don't. No. We
wow.
don't.
Okay.
And the reason why we choose not to, like, my husband drives for a living, so it's sort of the last thing he wants to do when we go on vacation. And really, to take a cab or an Uber to any of these places is really fast. It's very inexpensive, and you just don't have the hassle of trying to park, and that's not easy in Mexico, right? So we opt not to, and we just get around our own way. Buses, Ubers, yeah. Our feet a lot
Awesome.
too.
Oh, yeah, I bet. Get all the steps in, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. That's incredible. So how do you balance a work vacay? How much do you work and how much do you vacay?
Well, been here a week. I've not really worked. I started to work yesterday and today. I'm struggling, gotta be honest. It's hard, but some things just need to get done. So
Yeah.
you just have to get it done. So it's
Yeah.
mornings mainly. Mornings are
Hmm.
the best time to do that. After we go for our morning walk, we come back, we do a little bit of work, we have a bite to eat, and then we're out the door and either
Perfect.
pool or go on exploring or whatever it might be. So it's a balance. It's a bit of a learning process for us too. I mean, we were here for
Yeah.
3 weeks last year. This year we're here for 5, and we are trying to balance the work. We're not having any luck getting the work done yet. So we've got some
You're
work
only
to
a
do.
week in. Yeah, you're okay.
That's
It's
right.
only a
Yeah.
week. You
Yeah.
got 4 more.
Yeah.
You got 4 more.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
amazing. Good for you guys that you can do that, especially right now. I mean, it's warm in the Okanagan, but much warmer there. And I feel like we always need that hit
Yeah.
of vitamin D. So good for you
Yeah.
guys to get out and do that. So tell
Thanks.
us a
Yeah.
bit of a bit about yourself. Have you always lived in the Okanagan?
No, I was born and raised in Edmonton, Alberta, lived there until 2006 when we moved to the Cayman Islands for a year.
Mm.
And from the Caymans, we moved to Kelowna. Our plan was always to go to Kelowna. The Cayman was just sort of the in-between time, and we moved to Kelowna in 2007. So we've been in Kelowna now
Oh,
for, I guess, 17 years. Yeah.
wow. And what
Yeah.
brought you to the Cayman Islands? Was it that project I had previously mentioned?
Yeah, yeah, we had friends and former business associates through my husband's former business that were down there working. A lot of Canadians work in the Cayman Islands in the hospitality sector.
Mm.
So we went down along with that, and we were helping out with the commercial and residential development that was sort of coming back to life after Hurricane Ivan had hit, decimated so much of that island. So we were there to sort of resurrect that and bring it back to life. It was an amazing experience for sure.
Wow. Wow, that's
Yeah,
incredible. And sorry, how long were you on Cayman Islands for then?
for a year.
Years.
We were there for a year.
1 year.
Yeah,
Okay, 1 year.
yeah, yeah. It was
Beautiful.
just a 1 year contract. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was all to do with the marketing management. So did you go to school or university for marketing?
Mhm. I did. I did go to NAIT, the Northern Alberta Institute of Technology in
Hmm.
Edmonton. Goodness, like I was 20 at the time. And I
Wow.
took the marketing specialist program that they had at that time, and then dove right into marketing roles and jobs like right then. By the time I was actually doing those things while I was in school. So I was already in marketing jobs at the age of 18, as a matter of fact, and
Mm.
started working my way up that old corporate ladder back then. Yeah.
So did you
Yeah.
did you already see a clear direction when you were doing your schooling or even after schooling that you wanted to go right into tourism?
No, not at all.
Mm.
I mean, I always loved travel, but I was really in a lot of event marketing was sort of my jam. I worked a lot like in sort of the entertainment sector, like for the Canadian Country Music Awards. I did a little, I did about a 10-year stint with them as a event producer. A lot of different, major sort of big events,
Yeah.
5,000 people plus sort of thing. So not only the event production, but the marketing side of it too. So and then I worked a lot in the hospitality side as well. So entertainment, hospitality, they feed into
Okay.
tourism well, right? So
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah.
Very neat. And then with I mean, even prior to that or when you were in school, were you doing a lot of travels while you were studying?
No, because I was a young mom with a young child. I
Mm.
was a single mom with a young child. So I didn't really start traveling until I was older, really,
Yeah,
because I was a mom at 19. There wasn't a lot of time for travel as a single mom at that age, right? So my traveling
absolutely.
started much later in life. Yeah.
Okay. And would you say the Cayman Islands kind of kicked that off?
Yes, 100%.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Something clicked in me there where I just said, I mean, I traveled a lot before that, but living in that environment really set off a new side of me that I didn't even know existed, frankly. And it
Yeah.
was wonderment. It was wonderment of the world and
Mm,
this appreciation that I never really felt before, just coming from, a small town in Edmonton, it changed me. And from there,
yeah.
I never looked back. Yeah.
Good for
It's almost 20
you.
years ago now. Wow.
But it's amazing that that's still something that you hold on to, or you even just seeing your face light up from that moment and knowing that that experience is something that changed the trajectory of which way you're going.
Yeah.
Very, very
100%.
special. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
incredible. Where then have you traveled to? Where in the world have you been? I mean, do
Mm.
you do you have a list? Can you list them? Do we have enough time to list them all off?
I bet you I haven't been in as many places as people think I've been just between my
Okay.
job and such. But
Yeah.
my list of where I want to go is the entire world.
Hmm.
But where I
Hmm.
have been, I've gone to a lot of places a number of times. So
Okay.
we
Yeah.
tend to visit places once, twice, maybe three times just to get the full expression of it. But I
Mm.
mean, between my job as a flight attendant and my roles and, and then my personal life and my past, I mean, I safely say I've seen all of Canada, majority of the US, pretty much Caribbean, mostly Caribbean.
Wow.
I've spent no time in Asia, but that's actually coming up
Mm.
on the immediate list. And I want to spend a lot more time in Europe. And the one thing I've never done, and you're not going to believe this, I've never been on a cruise.
Oh, really?
Really, I've never been
Never.
on a cruise. No,
Do you
no.
think you would like it? Is it something you want to do?
It is something we want to try for sure. It
Yeah.
is. I think I
Yeah.
want to do the smaller, like the Paul
Mm.
Gauguin cruises, right? Something a little bit
Yes.
smaller where it's like
Beautiful.
200 staterooms, sort of an idea, right? Versus the
Yeah.
larger boats. But yeah, it's another one of those things that's on the list.
On the list, the never ending list. I know. Or a river cruise even would be a good one for you too
Yeah,
in
that's
Europe.
that's a for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's incredible. So then even with going back to what you said about traveling to the same places multiple times to get the full feel, what do you think it is that you feel like you do differently on like the third or fourth visit versus the first?
I think the comfort level really gets much
Mm.
greater, right? So you're familiar with your surroundings, and you're just more open to exploring more culturally, I find, once you've been there a couple of times. Like I can
Yeah.
liken it to, when I was a flight attendant and I would have layovers in some of the same places a lot. Layover number one, two, three, four in Maui, we're just getting to know the place. But by layover 44, I knew what I was doing. I knew where I was shopping. I knew where I was eating. I knew my day was planned. Like I would fit so much into 24 hours, right? It was unreal.
Yes.
So we sort of took that concept and we put into it, some of our vacations, and it's enabled us the opportunity to meet more people, meet more locals,
Mm.
and really get a cultural feel. Because I always find the first time around is just sort of, especially when you're not staying in it like an all inclusive, right? If you're like somewhere
Yes.
like this where you're renting and you're in smaller towns, the first time you go you're just starting getting used to your surroundings, but by the second time, like, you're like, oh yeah, I know that place has 2 for 1 all you can eat ribs on Friday night. That's our Friday night plan, or whatever it might be, right? I know where to shop. I've met people, right? So that's why we
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Perfect. It makes sense. It definitely makes a lot of sense. And you're right. There's a sense of comfort to going back to the same spot. You feel more like a local. You
Yeah.
can be a little bit
Yeah.
more relaxed. Yeah. With
Yeah. And I mean, I don't think it's something that we would do, like, we're not the kind of people who are going to have one place and just go there every winter.
mm,
There's just too much of a world to see for us. But doing something 2 or 3 times can be
yeah,
pretty good.
I
Yeah.
like it. I definitely like that idea. With all the places you've been to so far, can you pick a top couple favorites?
I can.
Mm.
In Canada, I'm going to say Quebec City is my
Oh,
favorite place in the country.
nice.
Along with, Nova Scotia is beautiful. All of Nova Scotia to me is just
Yeah.
stunning. But
What's
Quebec
so
City
great
just
about
transports.
Quebec? Yeah. What do
Well,
you love
it
about it
just
there?
Quebec City transports you back to Europe in the 1700s. It just has that
Um,
feeling to it. You feel like you're in Europe. It's quite magical, especially in the wintertime. It's just
mm.
absolutely Christmas time. It's just magical. It's a magical place. I highly recommend anybody who wants to see Canada put that on their list. Quebec City is beautiful. So that's my favorite place in Canada. In the United States, it's New York, hands down.
Mm.
I'm a New York girl. I don't know, probably 50, 70, maybe 100 times I've been through my job and
Wow.
through and personal trips. And I love that city. It's just so lively. It's just New York's an amazing city. Paris is an amazing
Mhm.
city too, though. And I think in the Caribbean, I'd have to say St. Lucia is probably my favorite
Mm.
island. Just the topography is
Mhm.
unlike a lot of the islands in the Caribbean and the Piton Mountains and stuff. So I find it very majestic. So, and of course, I
Yes,
love
I
Hawaii.
agree.
Love Hawaii. Who doesn't love Hawaii? Love Costa Rica. Where else? That's.
Those are
I've been to so many
good.
places. It's so hard.
Those are great
It's so
choices.
hard to pick. Yeah.
Out of all of those ones, what's the most favorite thing you like to do if you could pick one of them? Because I know there's so many activities in each one, but is there a favorite that
Yeah.
you just have to do every time you go back?
Wander. I have to
Mm,
wander. I need to wander the
yeah,
streets, not know where I'm going, not like, and just let every corner I turn show me something new, right? Give me a
love
new
that.
experience. I'm a wanderer. I will wander streets as long as it's safe, of course. I will
Yes.
wander streets and cafes and shops. And, I just love to wander aimlessly when I'm somewhere new. It's
I
my favorite
love
thing to do.
that. Love it. Hence the name Wanderlust, of course. Makes sense. Pretty fitting.
Yeah, yeah,
Very fitting.
yeah.
Do you have
I actually never put those two
any
together till now.
really? Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, meant to be if you're a
Yeah.
wanderer. What
Yeah.
would you say your favorite, I don't know, favorite or funniest travel story would be if you could pick one or something that just jumps out at you?
Funniest travel story. Oh, it'd
Mhm.
be my Paris meltdowns. Meltdown one and
Ooh,
meltdown two. Yeah,
okay.
two separate trips to Paris. I had two separate meltdowns. Like, funny, like very funny. Flying home from Paris, my first trip. Woke up late. The cab came early. We got up rushed. Right. My sister was living in Paris
Mhm.
at the time, so we were staying with her and woke up rushed. And of course, everything's packed and ready to go, but got in the cab on the way back to the airport. And I have this backpack that it's a really soft backpack, right? But it was sparkly. So at the time I really liked it. But things kind of get lost in it because it's very soft. It doesn't have structure or like a lot of pockets or anything. And I couldn't find my phone. So I get out of the cab and I'm losing my mind. I'm ripping everything apart on the sidewalk of the airport. And the entire time it's in my bra. Yeah, and I'm
No.
crying. I'm crying because I'm like, oh, I left my phone. We're gonna miss our flight. And it's in my bra the whole time. So that was the
Mhm.
first time. And then went back to Paris 6 years later for dinner en blanc. You probably heard of dinner
Oh
en
yeah,
blanc,
they
the
did
big
it
all
here.
white party.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I was because I'm part of putting it on. I'm one of the group leaders and stuff for the one in Kelowna.
Oh,
I've been
cool.
volunteering for it for 10 years. So I actually went to the Paris one. I was the group leader for Western Canada at their 30th anniversary dinner en blanc, and there was 25,000 people at that event. So we got there and we had to go and do the whole walkthrough of the event, and we get handed a bunch of stuff we have to take to our group. And I'm in the same knapsack. Okay, I have the same backpack, same problem.
Oh
I
no.
can't find my phone. I'm throwing everything out right in front of the Eiffel Tower, freaking out. I'm by myself, only with two people who can speak French and don't speak English. And where's my phone?
In
In
your
my bra.
the
Again.
same thing?
Again. Same city, losing my phone with the same knapsack. Yeah, and the same place in my bra. So those are my funny
That's Paris playing a funny trick on you is
I
exactly what
guess.
that's
Yeah.
doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so funny. It
Yeah.
happens though. It totally happens. It's
Yeah.
like sunglasses or something on your hat or in your head and you're looking everywhere for it. You're not alone on that either. So that's good.
Well, I liken it to what I see people do, like what I, would see people do in airports. A lot of people walk into an airport and all sense of common sense seems to like go away sometimes for people, and they're like losing things in the strangest places. I was acting just like that. So
Those are good. Those are good. Probably
yeah.
never again though, right? That'll be the first place you look
Mhm.
moving forward.
No,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, absolutely.
I
Yeah.
love it. So then take me through how the journey began into becoming a flight attendant because you're doing marketing, you've gone to school for it. Was it right after the Cayman Islands or was there a bit of a break in between?
Yeah, no, it
Oh.
was it was very organic like that. We came back from the Caymans, and we'd come back. I'm going to try to make this story really short because it can tend to be really long. We came back with the intent. We were purchasing actually a restaurant in Penticton, right on the beach. And at the 11th hour, we decided not to purchase it. And then was like, okay, we're going to have to do some career shifting here. My husband's family and generations have been in the restaurant business, and so my husband opted to go into real estate, and I was doing some contract work in Kelowna for marketing. But back then, I mean, Kelowna wasn't what it is now in terms of being able
Yeah.
to find that kind of work, right? So I had noted that Westjet was hiring. I had my sister, one of my older sisters, she had been a flight attendant with Air Canada for like 17 years. And I saw that they were hiring and they were doing this massive hiring spree in Kelowna, like a group interviews. So I was like, you know what? I don't know if I want to do this, but let's go see because, at least that way, I can get back and forth to Alberta to see our families and stuff like that. And I'll be, working a full-time job while my husband's getting his business off the ground. So I decided to, apply and went for the interview. And it was funny because back then, it's not like it is now where people were like, with WestJet, people are lined up, they get,
Mm.
10,000 resumes a month to work. But back then, I guess it was just a big growing phase. And so, they called me and they had offered me a position, and I was just in the middle of doing the Canadian Country Music Awards, and the training was starting right when I was in the middle of that project. So I was like, well, I can't do this right now, but can I please get another shot? And they said, well, we'll call you back in a couple of months if there's anything. So they called me back in December of 2007 and said, we've got some openings in January. Do you want to do it? And I went, like, I didn't even know what I was getting into, but I went, yeah, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. And off to Calgary for 6 weeks of training, initial training.
Mhm.
And by day 3, I didn't think I was going to make it through it.
Mhm.
it was just not at all what I expected. It was so hard. It was really,
Wow.
really hard. And 6 weeks later, I graduated, and every day I didn't know if I was going to make it to the next, but I came about it organically and went in full force. Had a lot of doubts as I went through it, but boy,
Yeah.
it was life changing. Yeah.
If you can even put it into, an overview, what is it like going through the training?
It's very disciplined. There's a lot of stuff thrown at you. You have to learn a lot quickly. What people don't, I think, the average person probably doesn't realize is that, in the 5 weeks that you're in initial training, you're learning everything you hope to God you never have to use.
Ah,
Every skill you're learning is a skill you're hoping you never, ever have to use.
mm,
You spend maybe 2 hours in 5 weeks on how to serve a drink,
yeah,
like that's
yeah.
really it. It's really all about safety and,
Mm,
precautions and really understanding the inner workings of an aircraft, not from an engine or pilot's perspective, but from a cabin perspective and all the safety
yeah.
equipment and your first aid and your medical training and all that. So it's very
Mm,
disciplined. We would have to, you were in class every day, you weren't late or you were gone. You had a
oh,
test every morning, and if you didn't get 85%, you were gone. Like you had to pass an
wow.
exam every morning, and you had to pass it at 85. That was back then. I'm not sure what it's like now, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was a lot, and especially if you have no previous, I had no previous aviation, knowledge whatsoever. But by the end of it, that was. But when I think about it now, that was actually the easy part because then you actually get on what they call get online, which is you're flying. And I think for the
Hmm.
first 2 years, I really questioned it because it was tough. You
Yeah, I bet.
need stamina for that job, man. That
Hmm.
job takes stamina more than anything, physical and mental stamina. I
Yeah.
liken it to a nurse for sure. But there's just so much when it comes to time zone changes, and like it's a very
Hmm.
tiring job. I give my former crew members kudos every day for how hard they work.
Wow,
Yeah.
incredible. And you're so bang on. It's the things we don't think about when we're so fortunate to get on an aircraft. All we're thinking about is, okay, hurry up, get us to where we need to go. Let's go.
Mm.
Like,
Mm.
versus actually thinking about the inner workings, what happens, the training that was involved. And yeah, you're right. I mean, it's definitely a lot. I can imagine the
Yeah.
feet hurt by the end of a shift. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure,
Hmm.
for sure. Yeah, and
Hmm.
a lot of like, they go through a lot of, you'll end up with a lot of conditions like back problems and stuff. Like people don't realize the carts are
Yeah.
500 pounds. The doors to open and close them are
Mm.
250, 300 pounds, It does take its toll. I don't think I could do it anymore, even if they threw me on a plane for 2 days, I'd be like, I'm done. I can't do it.
I'm out. I'm out.
I can't do it
Give me
anymore.
the sleeping cubby. Where's that? That's where you want to be.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can imagine you've seen some things when it comes to travel and traveling so many times. Like, I mean, how do you even know how many flights you've been on? Is that even a question to ask?
You know, I think I hope somebody can, that's still working, can quote me on this, but I think that the average flight attendant, if working full time, was doing somewhere around 350 to 400 flights a year. That's flight.
Oh,
That could be long haul or short haul.
yeah.
That could be just, hopping around Western
Connectors.
Canada, or it could be going from Calgary to Paris, right? But there's that many flights in a given year. I know there's apps now that the flight attendants can use, that
Oh,
will actually, yeah, track their miles over an entire year. They're pretty cool. I wish they would have
that
had that
is.
when I was still flying. Yeah.
Totally. That's so
Yeah.
interesting and incredible. Like it really does put a perspective in for what flight attendants go through.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, very, very interesting. And something to remember. So, I mean, with all the things you've seen, is there anything that stands out that was the strangest thing you've seen while flying?
Oh my word. I'm actually considering writing a little book about it. I think I told you about that one time,
Mm-hmm.
my little book idea. There's been so many crazy, strange things over the years. A lot of them are medical situations, which can be serious, right?
Oh, yeah.
But a lot of it too, just, people's behavior just becomes so weird on planes. But I think like if I was to like kind of hone in on the strangest stuff, I would say working flights from Toronto to the Caribbean, especially to places where a lot of people are going back to see their families, like they were going back to Kingston, Jamaica to see their families or something like that. So you're working that flight, Toronto to Kingston, Jamaica, Kingston, Jamaica or something. The stuff people would bring, it was like this was
Oh.
carry on. There was an emotional support rooster.
Oh.
For real. A lady brought a sink, like she was bringing a sink back, like that was her carry on was a sink. Another had a tire, right? Like they're bringing back the craziest stuff, right? But yeah,
Oh
the
my
emotional
God.
support rooster was probably one of the Yeah, one of the best ones I had seen. It was like the
Wild.
one you probably saw the meme about the person who brought the emotional support peacock on board. I'm like, how did that thing
Hmm.
even get on board? But
How do you
yeah,
smuggle a peacock or a rooster?
you know,
Oh
yeah,
my
exactly.
gosh. That's
Yeah,
unreal. And it is a wild thing. Like I don't even know if it's absent-minded or it's just like a conscious choice that they're like, yeah, I'm just going to bring this because then it makes sense to me. So won't it make
yeah.
sense to anyone else kind of thing?
And you're watching this stuff come
Oh,
on board, and you're like looking at your fellow flight. You're like, what the like?
so what do you
What
do
is
in
this?
that situation? Like, are you trained to get a rooster off the plane? How does this work?
Well, in the case of an emergency, the emotional support animal, whatever it might be, should be on your lap, and you should be taking it out with you. Yeah,
Oh,
it's not
okay.
my role is
Okay.
not to my role is not to save the rooster. My role is to get the doors open and get you out as fast as
Get
possible.
out. So that's your
Yeah,
responsibility. Okay.
that's
Yep.
right.
That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man. Well, was the rooster allowed to stay on the
Yes,
flight? Oh,
yes, because birds are allowed, right? Birds are an
mm,
official
yeah.
emotional support animal,
Yeah.
right?
Okay. I didn't know
So,
that.
yeah,
Wow. Wow. Okay. That's so interesting. Now, I've
yeah.
also heard on planes that the dirtiest thing on a plane is the ice cubes because the ice cube holder thing or the ice cube maker doesn't get cleaned. Is this a fact or is that a myth?
I've heard that to be a fact. However,
Mhm.
on the airline I worked for, we didn't have an ice maker. We actually had bags of ice, just like you buy at the store, right? It was
Oh,
bags of
okay.
ice, yeah, that were just bought in the store, and then there was a liner, like which was a fresh liner that was put into the ice cube to hold tray, and then you poured the ice cubes into it. So on our aircrafts, the ice
Yeah.
was pretty clean. The
Fine.
dirtiest thing is the lavatory, like
Yeah. Don't go in there. Oh, hazmat
people.
suit.
Yeah, exactly. Like people who go with bare feet were just like, oh my God, do you know what you're walking on?
You
You know?
know, I'm not gonna lie. I'm putting it out there. I used to be that person. I did traveling. I bet I'd be like, oh, I'd be wearing my socks. It's fine. And then after a while, I started to think that this is probably really disgusting. Cause I'm like on this long 10-hour flight, like no one's cleaning this bathroom, right? It's like little wipes, but no one's doing anything. So yeah, no, I changed my mind
Yeah,
real quick after a few times. It was
that's
pretty
good.
gross.
That's good.
Yeah, pretty gross. Pretty
That's good.
gross. Oh gosh. So interesting. I did also hear with flight attendants that you don't get paid unless you're off the ground. So if a
That's
flight's
correct.
grounded, yeah, I did
Yeah.
not know that.
Yeah.
Because are all flight attendants
Yeah.
hourly?
It is hourly.
Okay.
The pay structure is so complicated. Like
Oh, okay.
it's like if you've ever seen that meme of the crazy guy who's like pointing at all the things on the plan and like the equation, it's a very
That's
complicated
it. Okay.
equation on how FAs get paid. But oh yeah, on the most basic level, only paid from brakes on to brakes off. So as soon as the guys release the brakes and
Oh,
you're pushing back, you start to get paid. And then when you land and that's it.
yeah.
So when the entire time the doors are open to the aircraft, boarding and getting everybody organized, no one's being paid. If we're
Mm.
disembarking guests, no one's being paid. If there's a delay on the ground, I've been on the tarmac for 4 hours, 4 hour
Oh,
delay.
it's the worst.
With doors closed and not paid for the entire time. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest things that people don't realize is that FAs are only paid when the doors are
Mhm.
closed and the brakes are off. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that many years ago from a friend of a friend. She was a flight attendant, and she said that, and it was unreal. And then I have spoken to other flight attendants about it too, and I just wonder why it's something that's not changed. Or, it's like we're now with the new Transport Canada rules that if we're delayed a certain amount of time, we can claim to get some money. It almost should be the
Right.
same for flight attendants too, because you guys, if anything, are having to deal with all of these angry people that are sitting and
Yeah.
fuming and farting and who knows what, right? Like it's
Yeah.
really, yeah,
Yeah.
that was mind blowing to me. So that's a good one people should know.
Yeah, there's actually a movement happening in Canada for it right now. A lot of the flight attendant unions have actually grouped together across the country, and they've got a campaign going that I believe is called "Unpaid Work Won't Fly." And they're
Yes.
really educating through billboards and social media. They're really educating the public on those things because it's an industry standard that somebody created somewhere down the road, like somewhere, and all everybody believes, including pilots, that it needs to change. That flight attendants need to do, all the time we're standing in an airport, talking to customers or waiting to, we're not paid, right? Even when, you
Yeah.
put on your uniform, you got, let's say you're in Puerto Vallarta on a layover and you put your uniform on and you get into your crew van and it's an hour to the airport and then it's another half hour to get through
Mhm.
security to to your gate. And then you have to get
Yep.
on board. You got to do all your pre-flight checks and then I'll do all the boarding. I would say that that process from being in my uniform and getting on that crew van to getting people on board and those doors closing is at least 3 hours. And those hours aren't paid.
Wow.
But I'm in
Yeah.
uniform and I'm behaving as if
Hmm.
of course I'm representing the company, right? So
Exactly.
so there is a big movement towards that now. I really hope for everybody that it does change
Yeah.
because it's time. It's time.
I think, yeah, I totally agree. I'll definitely look into
Yeah.
that and help spread the word however I can because I agree. I think it's ridiculous. There's so many companies that you work for. If they didn't pay you, it's a whole huge thing. So I don't see why it should
Right.
be any different. Yeah, totally
Yeah.
agree. Very
Yeah.
interesting. Very interesting. So
Hmm.
so now tell us, you've done flight attending for 14 years. How did the transition then happen into an e-commerce, the digital space, for Wanderlust
Right.
Stuff?
COVID, frankly.
Mhm.
I was laid off amongst, tens of thousands of other people in aviation. And I woke up one morning with this idea, and it was really it wasn't born from COVID. It was born from missing travel. I was missing it so
Yes.
much. I was missing my job. I was missing traveling. And I just woke up with this feeling of I wanted to create something that would bring people who love travel together with makers who love to make things. And it started with the name, actually. The name came to me first. And I
Okay.
went right away and I had to buy the domain. And I was like, okay, buy the domain. I don't even know what this looks like yet. I just bought the domain, get your social media handles in place and start figuring things out. So I spent an entire year working and researching before I even turned my website on. It was actually a year, it was 14 months from conception to actually making my website live was 14 months because I really needed to understand what I was doing. And while I had, great experience in marketing and in travel, and I did have a lot of digital marketing experience as well, I didn't know a ton about ecom and I knew I had to learn it. And then I had to, of course, source all these super unique products. And where am I going to find these things in COVID? I can't travel. I have to
Mm.
find everything on the internet. So I spent, 14 months sort of pulling it all together to come out with a very basic idea. And that was in July of 2021 that I opened the store. And
Yeah.
so it's been 2.5 years, I guess, since then.
Unreal.
Yeah.
I mean, you already mentioned it that if you had to be a flight attendant now, you'd probably last for 2 days. Is there any
Yeah.
regret, any thought about going back or anything? Or how is it feeling now after the amount of time you're doing?
It is still bittersweet. I was recalled back to work a number of times, but we had this procedure in place with with your seniority where the more senior you were, the more you could defer going back.
Okay.
And the junior people would go back before you. But at some point, it gets to the point where you're the most junior because everybody's back to work, right? So that point came for me in February 22 or 21.
Okay. Mhm.
21. And I had to make a very quick decision of whether I was going back or I was putting in my notice to retire. I had done enough, I had put in enough years to actually get my retirement benefits.
Yep.
So, and it had to be a very quick decision. In the previous recalls back to work, everybody was given like a 7 to 10 day window to sort of think about whether they could go back. In this situation, it was a 48-hour window. And I had to make the decision in 2 days. And I just moved my parents into a seniors home in Alberta. My husband and I were just leaving on our 25th wedding anniversary trip. And I was like, what am I going to do? And we decided to, bite the bullet. So I informed the VP of in-flight that I was going to put in my retirement notice, and I was okay with it until I started writing the retirement letter. And as I was typing it up, and I said, it's been an honor to serve alongside my fellow crew members for the last 14 years. I just started to cry. I was
Oh,
like, wow, like
yeah.
I'm ending a huge part of my life that was so much of my identity, right?
Mhm.
And I mean, when I started that job, I didn't think I was going to love it, but then when I became good at it, I did love it. And I was leaving that behind. So it is bittersweet. I didn't get to end it on my own terms,
Yeah.
the way I truly wanted to, but I can't say I miss it I miss the people tremendously. I miss my fellow flight attendants and the camaraderie, and just feeling a part of that family. I miss that a lot, and I miss, layovers and stuff like that. That's the bad parts of the job I don't miss. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Don't miss the bad parts. Would I go back? No, no, that part of my life is over now. And I always had a plan in my mind that I would leave flying and have my own business. At the time, it was going to be an event planning business, but event planning was not the best business to get into when COVID was happening. So I ended up being in the business that I'm in now. So no, I wouldn't change a thing. I don't think.
Hmm.
It ended beautifully, and it will always be bittersweet, right? The
Absolutely.
ending will always be
Yeah.
bittersweet. So
I
yeah,
think that's the perfect term and words to say, because I can relate with you being in the tourism industry, being forced to change careers.
right.
And I've never used that word, but I'm gonna start using it from now on, because it's bittersweet. It really is.
Yeah,
It's a forced change that you never really would have thought you would have done. But then when you do it,
yeah,
you're like, oh, it's okay. It's okay
yeah.
how it goes. But yeah,
It
that's
is. I mean,
beautiful.
I still look up at the sky, and when I see a plane going by, I'm like, okay, that's Westjet or that's Southwest. Like, I can still pick them out, and I still have the good memories and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
life is different now, and I like where life is now. It's good.
Good for you. I'm glad to hear. I'm glad to hear. So with Wanderlust Stuff, tell us more about it. How do you find these products? What are they all about? How do you source them? And what are all the great things we can buy? So we can go shopping.
Oh, yes, yes. Well, so how do I find these products? A lot of rabbit holes, a lot of internet rabbit holes. I do a lot of research in
Mm,
different countries for things. That's what I like. That 14 months that I spent, prior to opening was really spent doing a lot of that. And I knew in my mind, I didn't want to be like every other travel store out there that was just selling, suitcases, and whether they're good suitcases, like there's great, there's Tubi, there's Briggs and Raleigh, there's great the Travel Pro, there's great makers. And then there's, stuff that you can buy for 29.99 at Walmart, right?
yeah.
And it's such a saturated space already. So I knew I didn't want to be in that space. And I wanted the products that I found to really instill a sense of wonderment in the person who bought it for themselves, or who was, giving it to somebody. So for me, I wanted to find makers that were doing things that were good in the world. So the whole concept was like, I want to help people see the world while I showcase makers from around the world that are doing good things for the world, right? Putting the
Mm,
world and the earth on the forefront of travel versus anything. So that was my leading motivation. And the more I looked, the more I found. And now I feel like I'm the curator of this quirky bag museum of really cool stuff from Morocco and Amsterdam, and finding neat things from all over. But you know what I really love is the stories from the makers themselves. They're so fabulous. Like, I really want to get on social media more and start talking more about their stories, because their stories about what they're making and why they're making it and how they make it is so phenomenal. Like, this one maker I have in India, they're a family that's been in the textile business for like 4 generations, and they make these beautiful hand beaded, sustainable beach bags, right? And
yeah.
to watch the process of them making these bags and hand beating these, it's unbelievable, right?
Wow.
I love those stories. I have a maker in Morocco that creates me bags with goat leather, natural goat leathers, and recycled Moroccan carpets kilns, right? And they're made way up in the Atlas Mountains in the Berber communities by these talented guys who hand stitch everything. Like, it's stuff like that, and I find the
Yeah.
stories really cool, and I love that they're reusing products, right, versus creating more
Yes.
junk where we're using
Yeah.
and stuff. So
Yeah.
so that's what I look for. I look for that. Doesn't always have to be sustainable, but independent maker is key. And I think that sometimes, like, these independent makers, they're so good at what they do, but sometimes they don't know how to market themselves. And I feel like
Hmm.
my marketing comes in handy there, where I'm really able to showcase them in a really good light. That's what I try to do anyways.
I never
Yeah.
thought about that actually, how that's come full circle with the marketing that you were doing originally and how obviously useful that is for what you're doing now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
true. And I know you've got military bags. I know you have seatbelt bags. That one's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
cool.
Those are all recycled seatbelts. Yeah.
Yeah, so neat. So where do you see what's the vision for your company for the next, I don't know, 5 years?
I have big aspirations, but they're a little too big for my own good. I got to scale things down a little bit. But at the end of the day, what I really, really, really want Wanderlust Stuff to become is, a socially responsible company, a bit of a thought leader in conscientious shopping as well as conscientious travel, really spreading the word about appreciation for the world we live in, for each other, for unity. I always say in my, one of the mission's core values in my company is community, but unity being the big part of that word. So I do see, I have some plans to be putting together some humanitarian builds with customers or anybody else who likes to come along. I had the honor of being able to do one of those, a humanitarian build in the Dominican Republic, and it was life changing, really, to do
Wow.
something like that. So I'd like to be able to integrate more of those things.
Hmm.
Also some travel, becoming a bit of a online destination for all things travel, but in this niche that I've created.
Great idea. I love that.
Yeah,
And dream big. Go big. You can always adjust the final date, but keep the dream
true
big.
enough. Yeah,
Right?
true
Keep it
enough.
big.
Yeah.
Oh, that's absolutely incredible. What type of advice would you give for somebody that's looking to start an e-commerce business, whether in tourism or otherwise?
Learn, 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 learn. I can't say it enough. My stepson's currently started his own ecom business as well, and he's come to realize very quickly that it's just not as easy as people think. It's a really difficult industry. I mean, liken it to you are one. If you had every business in the world in the yellow pages, and they weren't even
Mm.
categorized by AB, alphabetically, how do you stand out? It's the same thing,
Oh, yeah,
right?
great point. Mm-hmm.
So you need to learn. You've got to just soak in as much information as possible about the industry, not just e-commerce, like, oh, I've got my own Shopify or big commerce store set up or Square store set up. You really need to learn the industry. You need to understand
Yeah.
the benchmarks. You need to understand what works, what doesn't. You need to know who the pros are. You need to know who the scammers are because they're all out there, right? Just like they are in every
Mm-hmm.
industry. So learning is the key. If you go
Mm.
in and you just, oh, okay, I'm going to start my own Shopify store, throw some stuff up there, and then I'm just going to start posting a couple things on social media, you will be like 99% of stores and you will fail because 99% of e-commerce stores fail. And
Mm.
that was a scary thing for me, but I've been very fortunate because I've spent so much time learning and researching and taking training and going through venture acceleration programs like you know about, right? So that I've armed myself with knowledge which creates confidence, right? And then I
Mm-hmm.
easily am able to pivot. I fail fast. So I try that. Okay, that failed, move on, right? Pivot quickly, right?
Yeah.
So that you can keep the machine moving. So that would be my advice. Learn, fail
Incredible advice.
fast, and keep pivoting.
Keep going and pivot. And you're so bang on
Yeah.
with the knowledge builds confidence. And that's in anything that you do. So you're
Yeah.
bang on, especially if for a new business. How much can you learn? Where can you go? Who can you learn from? So
Yes.
smart. Like hit the ground
Yeah.
running. And then it can, the goal is to have smooth sailing, but it takes time to get there.
Takes time
Definitely.
to get there. And like
Mhm.
a lot of people always fear that by, taking somebody else's advice or asking for help that you can appear weak. Well, I think the absolute opposites. I read in a book once that standing on the shoulders of the leaders you admire and respect, and they're the ones who take you there, is an admirable trait. And I go into, like, I've had some amazing one-on-ones with really big marketing gurus or ecom gurus who are like saying, I'll give you a free half hour of my time, and I go in completely prepared and I let them go on my site and I let them rip it apart. I let them rip it apart because I
Yes.
learned so much from it, right? And so you got to be able to do that. You got to be able to stand on the shoulders of these experts and take in what they say and don't take it personally, right?
Yeah.
Let them rip it apart so that you can learn from it and get better.
Mm-hmm. So wise. Such great words. I absolutely love it. Where can people find you? Where can you be found where they can say hi and look at all your great stuff?
Oh, that's well, my website,
Mhm.
wanderluststuff.com. Of course, I'm on Twitter, or not Twitter, sorry. I'm on Twitter, but I'm not active on Twitter. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, of course. And I do have a pretty juicy email newsletter that I sent out that if anybody wanted to subscribe to, they can do that from my website as well. And yeah, I mean, all my products are on my website. I've got about 150 different items on there. I inventory the majority of them in my home in Kelowna. And the reason I chose to do that was because over the last 2 years, I really wanted to make sure that the products that I had chosen were of high quality, and also so that I managed the inventorying process and then the shipping process myself, so that I really understood the process, so that when if I could scale it, I would know how it worked, right?
Smart.
So yeah, everything's on the website and on social, really.
Perfect. I know. I am a purchaser of your products. I love them
I
all.
know. Thank you so much.
Love them all. My mother-in-law is still on her like 6-month journey throughout the entire world right now, but I have a corkboard map for her. So hopefully she doesn't hear this episode before she gets back. But yeah, we have that for her for a Christmas present. So I'm excited to give that one to her. Yeah. Once she's got all her, the pins in it, I'll send you a photo. But yeah, just
for sure.
Appreciate you being here, sharing your story. It is incredible what you've done. And I absolutely love the pivots, the changes that you've done in your life, but how you're just being you and you're making it work and you're taking all that knowledge to continue to grow. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. You and I have always had like a very awesome vibe together. So I was really thrilled that you asked me to do this. And thank you so much. And keep doing what you're doing, because it's really awesome too.
Thank you. I appreciate it. If you like this episode, please subscribe, download a few more, and leave a review. I really would love to hear from you, what you enjoyed and what your key takeaways were. And of course, please let me know if there's any aspect of the travel industry you want me to talk about next. You can also search for the hashtag SheDaresToTravelPodcast on Instagram and comment on the episode's post with your questions. I'd love to answer them all for you guys. I hope you enjoy your day, stay so well, and until next time, fly straight.